Hi guys, this is your introduction for our second unit and your pre-lecture for Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. And I'm in Buffalo on Sunday, as per usual. And oh, my laptop's being blown away by the wind. Alright guys, sorry. So we're going to start off talking about first off the unit overall. The first one that we're talking about here is original narration. And what we're looking at, we have two examples of original narration, and the first one is that we'll be talking about is Edgar Allan Poe's Pit and the Pendulum. First off, as a unit, as we start going to your own short story, one thing you want to keep in mind is being original within your narration. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of you guys who've had me in class have heard me say over and over again, never use the word you in your work. In academic writing specifically, you do not address the audience like that. It's lazy, it's weak, it shows that you're uneducated. But a lot of talented writers in fiction and in short stories specifically break this rule all the time. And it pulls your reader in. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if you do it the right way. The problem with what we're doing here, as far as this, is a lot of you guys, me trying to be rude, are not to the level yet where you can do that. So if you are not comfortable writing that way, or you think you are, but you have to question it, just don't do it. For instance, the second story we'll be reading, which the videos will come after this post-lecture and so on and so forth. We'll talk more about that then. But for as far as Edgar Allan Poe's, it draws you in from the get-go, where it's more sensory targeted. But anyway, if you want to use you and kind of pull your audience in, that's if you can do it confidently, that's fine. I want to share with you a couple excerpts. First off, let's go and talk about Pit and the Pendulum, where I want to just start out. Well, if I can go back, sorry guys. Pit and the Pendulum, where it starts. And it pulls you in immediately. Edgar Allan Poe was the master of the short story. He was the one that kind of coined the phrase that a short story is anything you can read in one sitting. And that's really kind of how you want to measure your short story. Even though we'll have a page minimum and stuff like that, that's what you need to do. Think about the story as a whole, as you want it to be well-rounded. You don't want a lot of cliffhangers, oftentimes, thinking that you're going to come back to it and make it a bigger piece later on. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want your short story to be whole, essentially, for our course, anyway. Anyway, back to Edgar Allan Poe. He starts out with, I was sick unto death with that long agony, and when at length unbound me, I was permitted to sit, I felt my senses were leaving me. The sentence, the dread sentence of death, and was the last distinct actuation of which reached my ear. After that, the sound of the inquisitorial voices seemed to merge in one dreamy, indeterminate hum. It conveyed to my soul the idea of revolution, perhaps from the association fancy with the burr of the mill wheel. Only for a brief period, for I presently heard no more. Yet, for a while, I saw, but with how terrible an exaggeration, I saw the lips of a black-robed judges. They appeared to me white than sheet upon which I traced these words, and even thin to grotesqueness, thin with the intensity of their expression, of firmness, of immovable resolution, of stern contempt for human torture. I saw that the decrees of what to me was fate. He's very descriptive. He uses a lot of sense adjectives and sense words as far as your smell, sight, touch, all that kind of stuff. But more specifically, we occupy the narrator's brain space. We're seeing things from his points of view, the idea of revolution, the idea of capture, the idea of punishment, the robes, the judges, all those sorts of things. And I'm not going to spoil the story for you yet until we get to the post-lecture here in a minute. But this is one of the most famous stories of terror that you can read about, simply because it deals with a lot of basic human fears. Being tied down, not being able to leave, seeing your death slowly come at you torturously. It's a very long, drawn-out process, and it's a very famous short story for that regard. But anyway, as you read it, think about what Poe is actually doing from a writer's standpoint. I want you to continue to read these stories thinking of what the author is trying to accomplish with them, other than basic entertainment value. I want you to focus specifically on why he is describing it in the way that he is, and why he is trying to make us occupy the same space as the narrator. A more recent example of this I want to share with you, and a really famous one as of late, is Fight Club. A lot of you guys don't know, but Fight Club is based, the movie with Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, is based off of a rather famous a novel. Technically it's a novella, really, if you kind of want to get into it, but it's not a very long read. In fact, you can find it online for free, but just do the right thing and actually buy the book if you're going to read it later on. But Chuck Palahniuk, the author, he is a very talented writer. He does a lot of stuff. He knows how to write in the, I guess what you can consider the classical sense, but he breaks a lot of the rules that we discussed and a lot of the rules that we try to adhere to. But he does so very, very well. And in that regard, it's fine. And if you feel confident whenever you do your own short story, feel free, as that is part of the creative license and part of the creative aspect of what we're trying to achieve. But make sure you're doing so confidently. The excerpt I'm going to read is he's breaking that very first rule of don't add he. Whoa! Wait for the wind to die down. I want to do this in one take, so I'm not going to turn it off. Okay. So anyway, he addresses that. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the movie. If not, I'm not trying to spoil it for you. But what we kind of have with Fight Club is essentially three entities occupying the same brain space. We have the two main characters and then us doing that as well. Just to kind of give you a taste of that, and you can look this up on your own time. Alright, so here's the extra I want to share with you. So Tyler and I are on top of the Parker Morse building with a gun stuck in my mouth, and we hear glass breaking. Look over the edge. It's a cloudy day, even this high up. This is the world's tallest building, and this high up the wind is always cold. It's so quiet this high up, the feeling you get is that you were one of those space monkeys. You do the job you're trained to do, pull a lever, push a button. You don't understand any of it, and then you just die. 190 floors up, you look over the edge of the roof, and the street below is molted with the shag carpet of people standing looking up. Breaking glass is a window right below us. The window blows out from the other side of the building, and then comes a file cabinet as big as a black refrigerator right below the youth, and the 6-drawer filing cabinet drops right out of the cliff face of the building, and drops, turning slowly, and drops getting smaller, and drops disappearing into the packed crowd. Somewhere in the 190 floors under us, the Space Monkeys and the Mischief Committee of Project Mayhem are running wild, destroying every scrap of history. The old saying, how you always kill the one you love, well, look, it works both ways. So here he breaks all kinds of rules. First off, he's switching kind of back and forth from past tense to present tense. It's obviously first-person point of view on top of that, but more specifically, whenever you actually read Fight Club, the structure is non-linear. It jumps around a lot. It's not chronological in any stretch of the imagination. There's a definite framing device with the present tense as setting the frame for the rest of the novel. And feel free to do something like that for your own short story, but the issue with that is with a short story, it needs to be much more contained and needs much more focus, and you don't have time or essentially pages to kind of waste doing that. But if you feel confident in coming up with something like that, then feel free. What you're to do now, obviously once you finish watching this video, you need to read The Pit and the Pendulum. You need to then watch the post-lecture, which I will have immediately after the PDF of Pit and the Pendulum for you. Then you need to do the quiz, write your blog, and then just jump right next into the second story for this unit. And we'll talk more about that whenever we get to it. So enjoy. Make sure in your blog you at least tell me what you think about the stories in addition to the prompt that's there. So enjoy and hope you like it.